Obviously, the big news is the indictments of individuals and organizations that were involved in the effort to impact our election last time around. But that wasn't the only news going on. Hidden a little bit more in the background has to do with Rick Gates, who had previously been a big part of this during past rounds of indictments. Rick Gates, Paul Manafort's longtime junior business partner and a 2016 Trump campaign staffer, is apparently finalizing a plea deal in which he'd cooperate with the Mueller investigation. And sources say that he's been in negotiations with Mueller's team about cooperating for over a month. So some portion of the time since he was originally indicted.
Yeah, so super important. And my theory, and it is definitely just a theory, if it was stronger than that, I would say it's a fact if I think it. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Don't sound like Donald Trump now, come on.
Yeah, I know this to be sure. No, my theory is that Mueller put out the 13 indictments without any connection to the Trump campaign because he wanted everybody to look over there while he's now making a deal with Rick Gates. Well, that Rick Gates could be huge. So let me explain. So look, it is possible that the 13 indictments on the Russian meddling are just that, and that's all they got, and they don't have anything solid connecting it back to the Trump campaign. And that the Gates situation could be just turning evidence against Manafort. Because Manafort and Gates clearly had separate deals with the Russians, and that's Russian oligarchs, and they had stiffed them on some money, and they thought doing them some favors while being with Trump would get them even. That I'm positive of that based on the facts we already have in public, and you will see that play out. That's why Rick Gates is now cooperating with the prosecutors, and Manafort's going to spend a lot of time in prison. Okay, so those two things could be it, and then so the Trump people can say we declare victory. But there is a second possibility. The second possibility is no, Manafort and Gates, who worked very closely together for like the last 30 years, have the goods on Trump and the Russians. And in fact, now I base that partly on a story that came out where Trump said he felt really good because Manafort hadn't turned on him. Now that's an interesting thing to say. He didn't say, because Flynn turned on me, I feel bad, so maybe Flynn doesn't have much, right? He didn't say anything else about anybody else other than Manafort, Papadopoulos, whatever, right? But he's like, Manafort hasn't turned on me, so I think I'm all right. What does Manafort know that you're worried about? And whatever Manafort knows, it is likely that Rick Gates, his partner, knows. So it's possible, and we'll see how it plays out, that Mueller's like, look over there with the 13 indictments. Rick, you got the deal? Great. Oh, nice. So right now, Rick Gates has, it appears, done a deal where he will tell the prosecutors everything in return for a lesser sentence. So they emphasize that in the stories, that he is not allowed to evade any questions about any topics. So while you're looking over there and Trump is high-fiving and high-stepping, as John pointed out in the earlier story about the indictments, Mueller might be like, yeah, great, get distracted, get overconfident. I'm making the real deal here with Gates and getting the real info. But you know what? The great thing about this is we're gonna find out soon, right? Because if he got real info from Gates about Trump, well, we'll know. And if he didn't, we'll also know. So if you say to me, oh, Jake, you don't know what you're talking about, that's all right, brother. We'll find out in a month, a week, 2 months, probably.
And I think to add to that, what we also know from from evidence and findings and employment records is that Gates remained on the campaign after Manafort was already fired. So Manafort was fired as chairperson, and Gates was still there, and he was there for a couple months after, which would give you some more timeline of what did the Russians give after that meeting with Don Jr., how did that connect with WikiLeaks and the releasing of the emails, and how Gates was a player in this? So I think you're right on that. I mean, I think he actually might know more than Manafort because he's on the campaign for a longer time period after the convention to sort of say, well, no, this is when we talked to, like if they did talk to WikiLeaks, this is when we talked to him. This is when he released it. This is when we colluded.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
Stay tuned, but don't if you're Trump. Keep your eye off of Rick Gates, probably no big deal. For everyone else, keep your eye on Rick Gates. That could be the much bigger deal. You just watched the video by the Young Turks, the home of the revolution. If you'd like to get the full show, come join us and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.